What's up, y'all? It's Nessly. I'm here with HotNewHipHop. Let's get it.
All right, so first and foremost, congratulations, Wildflower. Long time coming for you. Looking at all the production and everything, we're obviously big fans of TM88 and Take a Day Trip. So what was their roles in shaping the project? Because they seem to have a pretty large hand on the production side.
Absolutely. We started the project mainly with Take a Day Trip. Take a Day Trip is like my go-to producers. We sit in, it's not like an email submission kind of thing where I take the beats. So we sit in, they put down maybe 2 or 3 instruments. I start recording off the top of my head, no written material, nothing. And they continue the production process, I continue recording, and we just continue that process until the song is done. With TM88, it was more of a bringing in something at 75%. I do my part, and then he adds the final 25, you know? The vocals were the biggest part of the process with TM88. TM88 pretty much came with what he had. There was a large selection. That's what made it great. So many sounds to choose from. But totally 2 different experiences working with Take a Day Trip and TM88. Just completely 2 different things.
I mean, you kind of explained it because my next question was going to be, how was it sequencing the album? Because like when you posted the track list, if I'm not mistaken, it looked like the front half was a lot of Take a Day Trip, and then the back end was a lot of TM88.
Right. I mean, it just aesthetically sounded like the transitions were better that way. It was all coincidental. The tones used in the beginning of the project, it's almost like a gradient. They slowly go into that next side of the production. So in a way, you know, if this was a tape, there would be a side A, a side B. Yeah, so I mean, that's how people could look at it, like a side A, side B. However, it was just all coincidental that it turned out that way. There are a few TMs in the beginning and a few Take a Day Trips at the end, but overall, it does look like that because we wanted it to be cohesive, and you can't put chapter 3 before chapter 1 in a book. So, you know, it still made sense that way. You know, the way it ended up being just is the most cohesive, the most solid way to listen to it. After like, we went through, I swear, we went through like 15 different versions of the track list, and we went through 3 versions of the project prior to that. We recorded like 200 songs, which is like, it's not like the way we usually record. Like usually I'll do a project, know what's on it, and we're good to go. But this time we wanted to give people something just completely brand new for me since it's been 2 years since my last release. So it was just important that we really took our time with this, gave them the best song selections, the best track list, best everything from me. Young Thug is a huge inspiration for me. Just like the way he moves his voice is like an instrument, and making words that don't necessarily rhyme together rhyme just because of the melodic process. Like, it's hard to explain. He can stretch a syllable like upwards and like bring it back in with a word that doesn't rhyme at all. Like, and it makes sense. I'm trying to remember where I did that. I do it all throughout the project actually, and Future does that too actually. So they both inspire me, and I'm glad I have the platform to say that too, because I just really love their music. Both of them.
Yeah, Doug's a genius. I remember I watched a video with Alex Toomey, and he was talking about doing sessions with Doug. Yeah. And it was just like how he's got like 1,000 takes, and he can like go back to like one specific point.
He records super fast. I was like lucky enough to be in a session with him in A-Track, maybe a year and a half ago, something like that. And Doug records super fast, like 10, 15 minutes. But and like to hear the words that he uses in that time, it's like, does he read a fucking dictionary for breakfast? Like, bro, really just comes up with crazy metaphors, just big fucking words that like not everyday words, and he knows the definitions. He's using it properly. He's so good. He's just really
There's
good.
Videos of him back in the day, like really like snippets, but it's him like battle rapping Black, like
way
you know,
back. It's crazy. Like, so back then, like, they were both local to me. Like, I knew them like kind of both in a way. Like me and Thug used to talk on Twitter, like just about whatever. like music or whatever. Just like light conversation, not huge. We weren't like best of friends. Yeah, and then Black is from Stone Mountain, which is like kind of like where I'm from. I'm from Lithonia, which is like a connected city. They're like literally the part where I live from Stone Mountain is like 5 minutes away, and like everybody there used to rock with Black. Like, and I used to always hear his name. We'd always talk about doing music together, and at that point he was still a rapper. But like I was a fan of them both. Like I rocked with both of their stuff. They're just local MCs that were really dope. Thug, I was a huge fan of him because like a lot of the music I listened to back then was like, it was like from like the slums. Like it was great music coming out. Like you had these huge movements. Like when Rich Kids was hot, you had Rich Kids. You had Young Book. You had Kwani Cash, Young Thug. This other dude named Lucci, like not YFN Lucci, a whole nother Lucci. It was just all these people that I used to listen to, and like that was my favorite kind of music around then. And yeah, it's crazy just to see where these people are now.
So how's it working with Black now? Because he seems like a elusive, like from the outside in. Obviously, you may have known him from back then, but like outside in, he seems like this elusive character that's just hard to pin down.
Yeah, I mean, we never got an opportunity to actually work. We'd always talk about it, and they would never. It's just our schedules wouldn't like match up. I know he was in like some deal at one point, got out of that, and I'm sure like that put him in a funk, you know. And now he's like going crazy, but he's always been kind of like a recluse, you know, like kind of like quiet to himself, but very chill. But all of our interaction was either through Twitter, always see each other at an event, dap each other up, like, oh shit, hey, like I just seen him like maybe 3 months ago on the airplane, and we just like, it was just like a, hey, how you been? You know, some small talk. But I would definitely work with him though. He's super dope.
Do you have a track with Ski Mask?
Yeah, I have a song with Ski Mask. Who Has It is going super duper stupid. It's going crazy.
Talk about making a track with him, because you of all people, like you always seem to have your finger on the pulse.
Right.
And like these like up and coming guys, even from back like the Lil West and all that other shit, like you're always up on it. So
right.
What brought you to his attention?
I've always known who Ski was just because of the atmosphere of SoundCloud. A lot of us already are familiar with each other, and we rock with each other, whether like we go out of our shell to speak or not. Is like, you know, I'm more of a person that likes to be natural about it. If honestly, I just feel like we'll never cross paths, and I really just love your music, I may DM you. It depends. Like it just really depends if it comes across my mind. Sometimes I just don't think about it. And it was kind of like one of those situations with Ski Mask. I met him backstage at Fool's Gold Day Off in New York, actually. And we were just chatting, me, him, and Perry. I think they previously knew each other. And he was like, he just showed me love off rip. He was like, man, I heard Giddy Up, I had to come to the stage. I was like, damn, that's real, because I fuck with you. Like, your shit's fire. I just appreciate it. It was like a mutual artist, like, you know, like, yeah, like, it was just like we both thought each other were dope. And like we were gonna go like ride rides and shit, and then I don't know, some drama shit popped off, not with us, but just like other people, and just wasn't like the best energy. So we left. We hung out at his house later. He was like playing video games and shit. He has a dope spot. It's really cool. And then when he came to Atlanta, he came to my house, and like, you know, we just kept linking up. And I hit him. I was like, hey, I have this record with TM. I think you'll like it. I'll send it to you. See what you think. And like literally a week later, he did it in the studio at Take a Day Trip Studio. However, I was in Atlanta, so I didn't get to see the process, but it came out amazing. Like his flow it's a tornado. He's fire.
So what other people are you listening to these days? Where do you draw your inspiration from these days?
I mean, I'm still listening to a lot of old shit, honestly. Like just like shit that like, when I listen to it, it like reminds me of where I got my swag from. Like I listen to like a lot of my stuff, like the melodies or the auto-tune or whatever it may be, like at the deepest root of it all, it starts from like an early Drake, mixtape Future, you know, 808s and Heartbreak, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, stuff like that. Even if I'm not listening to it, bumping it on the aux all the time, that's where I come from. That's where the Nessly sound comes from. It's like a mix. It's a melting pot. It's like a gumbo of all that music. But I still listen to Dirty Sprite too. I still listen to, yeah, it's amazing. I listen to Super Slimy. I listen to all Future, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Even like 1000, I love 1000. When I reach inside my truth, I put a lot of big bankroll. That's my shit. Yeah. What's the other one I like? That's, I think they on to us. Yeah, I like that song. That's Future from Dirty Sprite 1. But yeah, I listen to a lot of Future. Like, my girlfriend hates it because that's all I play. I just listen to Future. She's like, can we listen to something else?
So you're kind of talking about all these different inspirations, and you're now really starting to have like a distinct Nessly sound. Like it's almost like a copyright, like this is you. So you've obviously talked about the inspirations, but what's the process like coming up with your sound? Multiple projects, like were there any moments where you like made a song and you're like, that's the beginning of my, like that's my true sound right there?
Kinda. As far as the way that I rhyme, I'll name a couple songs that like made me start to feel a sense of direction. There's Vogue. My triplets, like the way I go about my triplets are a little different than I feel like a lot of people. There's Look at You. Those are, I think they were both on Still Finessing. I make so much music, I don't even remember what's on what project, but shit. And then Giddy Up definitely gave me a lot of where I am, and LSD Ski Trip. A lot of those like started to define the Nessly sound as far as how I use my autotune. I kind of approach my autotune like a singer, but not necessarily the singer topics or the singer way of writing. So I think that's kind of like what defines my music, the way I go about my melodies. And I get it all the time. People will be like, Nav stole your swag, your sound. I mean, I don't really hear it, but I will say that I guess when I take a step back, maybe we have a similar talking voice maybe, and then the autotune on top of it with the singing makes it sound similar. But I mean, the first time I spoke to Nav, his music, what did he make? He had that one song, I don't know, driving down the 401 and I'm speeding. That song, whatever that song is, I can't remember. I thought it was dope, but it was literally, so me and Nav met, we chatted because of this. His song played on OVO radio, then it transitioned into Giddy Up. We were literally side by side on OVO radio. So,
DJ, there's a reason why you're doing that.
yeah, so I'm sure maybe it had some similarities, but to each his own. I mean, people can take what they want of it, but I'm Nessly shit. He's Nav. I think we make two different types of music. I mean, I don't know. I think he does what he does well. I think I do what I do well, and that's it.
So thematically speaking, throughout the album, there's a lot of love topics and stuff. Yeah. And I know your girl's here, so I might be putting you kind of on the spot, but like, just life-wise, day in Nessly's life, were you going through some of these things that helped build the themes in the album?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of it is my flaw, my fault. Some of it is whoever else's fault. And I'm not even saying her, like, because a lot of this was made previous to my relationship with her. It's old music, you know. I sit on songs for a long time. And sometimes even like for example, in a newer relationship, you have to talk about your past to connect with your fans. Sometimes the only way you can speak to people going through things, like I'm talking about, I just called my ex and I just died. A lot of people message me saying like that really helped me. Like you know, sometimes people call back one more time for that extra chance, you know, stuff like that. Like, and it makes them feel like a fucking hole in their heart. You know what I'm saying? You're really trying. So like, it just, I know that words like that like will really, it'll speak to people. People need a voice because sometimes they don't have the platform I have. You know what I mean? So it helps them. It helps them get through whatever. I had somebody, you know, with that same song tell me like, they lost somebody. Well, they lost their girlfriend, and they died. They actually died. So they were like, man, like, you don't know, bro. Like, that song really like stopped me from taking my own life. I'm like, damn, bro, like, that's crazy. Like, sometimes I don't even see my DMs. So, you know, I was glad I could respond to that kid and help him through what he was going through. But yeah, a lot of the stuff I've been through, whether it's Wildflower itself as a project is talking about self-reflection. It's talking about my own flaws, my own insecurities, my own mistakes, my own trials and tribulations. But they're coming from the angle that a lot of rappers especially are afraid to talk about themselves. It's like making a diss track to yourself. Like, you know, you dress it up with a TM88 beat, you dress it up talking about I'm flexing, blah, blah, blah. But like, I'm making it from the perspective of that one guy in the club that just like is sad, like, damn, what am I really doing here? Like, you know, I'm on my phone in the club. I don't really like the club. But this is what pays me. Like, it's really a contradiction. It's a paradox. And I feel like that's what I am. I don't like the club. I have to go to the club to get my money, do my show, you know, stuff like that. So I know there's other people out there like that. But as artists, we're asked to put on a face every day, a mask. We're asked to be something that sometimes we're not, you know, and we're real human beings. So all Wildflower is about, I know people could resonate with that no matter what career field they're in. And I'm just happy I could be a voice for that.
What was your most memorable session making the album? Was it a specific song? Was it a specific person? Maybe just a moment in your life that may have done it?
I really enjoyed making Thank God. However, it took me about 3 weeks to record that song. It's the intro.
What about it took 3 weeks?
Well, obviously since I don't write, that's one struggle. So when I can't sit there and piece it together, it's literally based on my mood. It's based on my attitude. It's based on how I feel, my emotion. And without me being in that same place every day, I have to find a way to reconnect with that same emotion to continue the record. And I was just on such a roll with that song that there was no way that I wanted to like risk that song being anything but a 10, like anything but amazing, anything but great. And I think that it'll speak for itself when people hear it, definitely. I love that song. One of my favorite sessions was probably Back to Life. We flew day trip out to Atlanta actually to work from out my house. And I almost fucking got kicked out of my house because of the noise complaint. So that was pretty legendary that I almost lost my house because of Wildflower.
Isn't that a new crib that you got?
A new one 'cause of it.
Isn't that a new crib that you got?
Yeah.
I remember I saw it somewhere on IG
so
or
pretty.
Snapchat somewhere where you're like, finally got my crib.
Oh, I love my crib. I want to go home. My back hurts. Lay in my bed, watch some Hulu, some Netflix.
You got this album coming out. Took a bit of a break beforehand with the projects. What's down the line for you? What's next?
I want to see what happens with Wildflower. I believe in Wildflower. I'm focused on Wildflower. I'm always recording what's next. We have Still Finessing 2 finished, but so was Wildflower before it became Wildflower. So who knows? We'll see.